How's it? Today is November 11th. It's Wednesday. It's a power clean and jerk day, also a sumo deadlift day. Last week, I had kind of a down week on the power clean because the week prior to that, I hit 123, which is a pretty big lifetime PR. How heavy is that? It's like 271 or so. The most I've ever power cleaned before that was 121, which was also the week before that. So it's been a good couple weeks, and I guess last week it was warranted to have kind of a deload. Ideally, last week I would have went to 125, but it's whatever. I think honestly I'll be able to get to 125 eventually. And today, as you can see there, it says work up to 2 to 3 sets of 1+1 at 120, and 120 in light of what I just said, right? 121. Here's the dog. His name's Benny. He's a little boy. He's a little big boy. He's a big little boy. Whatever. 120 is really, really, really high intensity. If maybe 3 weeks ago 121 was my personal best, right? 120 is only 1 kilo below that, and for me to do that for 3 sets of 1 is just a lot on a single day. And I'm pretty happy with how today went. They weren't the most convincing powers, but they were all pretty close. And just moving the way I am with it more than once is a big positive for me. I think the biggest thing I think from today that I gained was um, the way that the jerk has been moving. So the jerk a couple of weeks ago, maybe more than a couple, 6 weeks ago or so, was really inconsistent with a really strong forward push. But today it kind of just flew straight up, and so that is a big confidence thing for me. I think as I was warming up, I wanted to have a more tight upper back because I think I noticed that as the weights get heavier, my upper back starts to curl forward, and that um, is not always. It's actually always bad to maintain proper upper back tightness. So this is 110. That's a pretty moderate weight. You see how the jerk went? It kind of went straight up, a little forward push, but it's 115. So this is my last warm up. A little bit forward on the jerk, but overall just incredibly different feeling than I was a couple weeks ago. So that's my first attempt at the power clean. I mean, I would say I would count that as a power. That jerk was a lot better than that 115 was. And then I shake my head because I wasn't sure. That one was probably stopped at parallel, if anything. The last clean is the best clean, so that jerk was okay. And then like I said, the last clean is the best clean. You're talking to Chad over there. I wasn't sure if that was a power or not. Yeah, significantly better. I think my positioning as far as my extension was a little bit better, so I was able to get the bar a little bit higher relative to where my body was in that time. And then that jerk went up better than the other one. I just told him that was the best one, yeah. So again, pretty happy with that. I had 2 downsets of 105 for 2+1s. I think on my downsets, um, I don't ever use my belt. I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing because I normally belt up at 100 so that I have energy and stuff, but even if my downsets are above 100, I don't belt up. So yeah, it's kind of a strange way to think about it. But like 105 is not very hard. It's not challenging. and like I don't have to think too much about it. I think the time between these two sets was probably less than 2 minutes. I think the same song has been playing, so that's kind of how that went. After that, I moved into the sumo deadlift, just work up to one set of 3 at 160, and then I think it was 3x3 down sets at 145, I believe. They were all pretty easy. I mean, the down sets were. The top set was a little bit more challenging than I expected it to be, considering how easy last week was. I think last week was my perception of last week was a little bit different because I didn't have a heavy power clean at the beginning. I did 5 1+1s at 100 last week, versus today me doing 3 1+1s at 120. Um, I didn't think that would affect me as much as it did, but I can't really point to any other reason why this 160 was as challenging as it was. I think overall I'm happy with how today went. You know, like 120 for 3 singles, and then 160 for the sumo deadlift is, I think my most is 170. It might have been 175 for a 1, so I'm creeping up on that. But yeah, I was struggling a little bit there. And then, as I mentioned, my down sets were a little bit easier. Not nothing I have to really like sit down and like reflect on why it went poorly, or you know, or like I didn't have to like psych myself out about how I was executing. I think I'm really looking forward to Saturday, because on Saturday my I'm supposed to do a max deadlift, like a regular like clean grip deadlift, and I've never hit 400 before. And last week I did 175 kilos, which is like, was that 385? And so if I do, I did 175 for 2, which is like 385 or so. And Steve was mentioning that next week, so this coming Saturday, he would like me to hit a 400-pound deadlift, and so that's what I am looking forward to. I don't know how long it's going to take me to hit 400 on the sumo, but maybe it'll get there someday. I think, just as Steve mentioned, overall, if I have a stronger pull at any position, I'll have a stronger pull, right? So irrelevant of position, if I can do a deadlift, sumo deadlift, clean deadlift, I don't know, snatch deadlift, if I can snatch deadlift a lot, right, then that doesn't that mean that I should be able to just pull a lot? So I definitely agree with what he's saying, and so I'm really happy with the progress I've made for the pulls. My squats are coming back too. I'll be at 180 eventually, so 180 is 396. So I think I'm gonna get to 182 hopefully on Saturday. That's kind of what I've been thinking about for the whole week, since last week felt really good. Um, but yeah, so after those sumo deadlifts, I did my barbell bent over rows, and then a couple other accessories, which would be the single arm dumbbell overhead press, and then the dumbbell overhead walk, and then back extension holds. I'm not super sure what the order was he would like me to do them in. I just do them whatever order is convenient. I don't think it matters too much. I think maybe if I do the overhead walks before the presses, then it's not as um, effective, because I can only go so heavy on the overhead walks, and so getting like a pre-exhausted state would be probably be better for my overall progress. To finish off the workout, I just did the back extension holds. I mentioned that earlier, but yeah, I'm really proud of how today went. I'm happy that I was able to do 120 for 3 singles, and then that 160 wasn't too bad for the sumo for that one triple. But yeah, thank you for watching. Shoots.